Hey guys, welcome to class. It's Tuesday. I hope you guys did awesome on your math test like I know you did. Today we're going to be looking at character traits. Before we start off, do you guys have any idea of what a trait is? Alright, we've gone over plot structure, so you guys know what an introduction, the rising action, the climax, falling action, and the resolution mean. But what are character traits? Let's find out. Character traits are words that are used to describe someone's personality or how someone looks on the inside. Our personalities are made up of different traits. Let's look at some of them. A character trait is not something you would see if you looked in the mirror. So if it's something that you can look in a mirror, that is not a trait. You can say that's used to describe someone, but that's not a trait. Let's meet Alex. Now, before we move forward, what are some ways that you can describe Alex by the way that he looks, by his appearance? Let's see, you can see that he's well dressed, he's got a uniform on, he's got caramel colored skin, he has brown eyes, black hair, he's a Cub Scout. Let's see what some of these, so we can describe how Alex looks on the outside. We call this his appearance. Right? He is tall, thin, well-dressed. He has brown eyes, caramel-colored skin. These are words to describe how Alex looks on the outside, his appearance. You can say that he's tall, he's got brown eyes, he's well-dressed, he's got caramel-colored skin, and he's thin. But what does Alex look like on the inside? Let's find out. Here are some ways to describe how Alex is on the inside. Now, these are things that we can't see. Typically, you can't see traits. You can describe someone as loyal, athletic, adventurous, curious, or hardworking. Again, you can't see someone and say, oh my gosh, that person looks super curious. You can't do that with most traits. Alex sounds like a great young man, doesn't he? All right, we call these descriptive words character traits. Okay, character traits are words that are used to describe someone's personality. Our personality are made up of different traits. Let's play a quick game before we go further. It's called inside, outside. You're going to see a word and a picture, and you're going to have to decide whether the word describes someone's appearance, what they look like on the outside, or what the character trait is, what is on the inside. And again, remember, character traits are things that you can't see. Let's look at this one, stubborn. Now here we've got a donkey. We've got someone trying to move them, and the donkey doesn't want to move. The donkey is being stubborn. So I'm going to give you a second whether you think that's inside or outside. Stubborn. He doesn't want to move. Okay? It's an inside trait. Again, now, in this particular case, it is obvious that the donkey is being stubborn, but if you were just to look at someone across the room, you wouldn't be able to tell whether that person was being stubborn or not. That's a trait. It's a character trait. How about pretty? Is this something on the inside or outside? Is this something you can look in a mirror? Second. Good. This is on the outside because it's appearance. If you can see it in the mirror, it is on the outside. Now, thoughtful. Okay? Think to yourself, have you ever looked at someone and you said, oh my gosh, that person looks super thoughtful? No, because thoughtful is something that's on the inside. It's a character trait. Elderly. Again, ask yourself, is this something that you can see on the outside? Is this something to do with an appearance? Or is it something on the inside? In this case, it's on the outside. You can tell when people are older. You can tell by looking at them. You can tell by talking to them. We have young. Again, this one's really similar to the last one. If we know by looking at someone that they're elderly, we can also know that by looking at someone, we know that they're young. And again, that would be appearance. Helpful. Again, ask yourself, can you see someone be helpful? Or is this an outside thing or an inside thing? It's an inside thing. Again, you can't see someone and say, oh my gosh, that person looks super helpful. You can't see that. All right, guys, nice job. Now, we're going to look at some more questions. Nice job, you're doing great. All right, let's meet Sophie. Which one of these words describes Sophie's appearance? Is it smart, brown hair, friendly, green eyes, or quiet? Again, we're talking about appearance. What can you tell from the outside? Okay. Good. Brown hair and green eyes. You can't tell just by looking at her that she's smart, friendly, or quiet. Those are character traits. Which of these words could describe a character trait that Sophie might have? Those are the ones that we didn't pick last time. That's the smart, friendly, and quiet. She might be these things, but we don't know because we can't see it. Let's meet Charles. Which one of these words describe Charles' appearance? Brown eyes, imaginative, young, annoying, or blonde? Again, look at Charles. What can you tell from the outside? Good. If you said brown eyes, blonde, and young, you were correct. Annoying and imaginative won't work because you can't look at him and say, oh my gosh, he is super annoying, or oh my gosh, he's super imaginative. You can't say that. All right, which one of these words might use to describe his traits? Again, it's the two that we couldn't use before. Those are character traits. All right, when we read, we can find these traits and use them to describe the characters we're reading about. Sometimes an author tells us what the character is like. Sometimes the author will tell us directly. It'll be in the text, in the book, exactly what this person is like. In the foothills of Yosemite, there lived an honest, hardworking park ranger and his loving wife. Here we've got the park ranger and his loving wife. The park ranger is honest and hardworking. His wife is loving. Okay, so here we understand more about a character based on the information we read. Sometimes author will show us what a character is like by how he or she acts. We make a conclusion based on what they do, say, and think. So again, beforehand, the author told us directly what the characters were like, right? And this time, the author is not going to tell you directly. He's going to tell you indirectly what the character is like. Let's look at this. Randall had spent his summer tormenting the little boy down the street. So here we can tell some traits about Randall just because of what he did during the summer. He was tormenting a little boy down the street. So if you know that he was tormenting a little boy down the street, you know that he's not a very nice guy. Right? This is not a nice guy. In this example, we know that he was tormenting the little boy down the street. We can also use the picture to give us examples. So Randall could be described as mean, right? He's a bully. We can also tell what a character is like from what others say about them. So first, we have when an author tells you directly what the character is like, then we have how you figure out what the character is doing by what he or she says or does. And the last one, we can tell what a character is by what someone else says about them. Okay, let's look at an example. Harley sure is talented on his bike. I heard that he won a contest last weekend, said Lauren. So, because of what Lauren said, I'm not sure who Lauren is, but because of what Lauren said, we know that Harley is talented on his bike. Right? Now, the author didn't tell us this. Harley didn't tell us this. Lauren told us this. Right? All right, now let's look at a tricky situation. Let's meet Kennedy. Here's what he looks like today. His new remote control car has smashed into the fire hydrant outside. Normally, Kennedy doesn't look like this. that can be confusing about character traits. Just because someone gets upset, it doesn't make them an angry person. Kennedy is usually a happy, fun-loving guy. So don't get tricked by something that happens one time, just like you shouldn't judge a book by its cover. Okay? Again, so in other words, if a character makes a mistake, that doesn't mean that the character is that way. It's just one instance. A lot of times, you kind of have to sift through all of the information to make sure you understand your characters. Let's do some practice with some easy ones, huh? All right, we've got our little pig friend here. Let's see what we've got. Meet Percy. Look at Percy in the yard. His room is untidy. His backpack is disorganized. And I know that he'll track dirt into the house, said Mama Piggeroni. So here we have the mother talking about Percy. His room is untidy. His backpack is disorganized, and he tracks dirt into the house. You can kind of tell that Percy's a disorganized, messy individual by what his mother said, right? You can tell that Percy is messy, neat, fun-loving, and friendly. It would be messy. Coach Sam is a great coach. She always gives her players high fives and tells them how great they're doing on the field. All right, so let's see. This is where the author is telling you directly how Coach Sam is. It's telling you directly how she is. So she's a great coach. She gives her players high fives and tells them how great they are. So she's a great coach. She's someone that really cares. You can tell that Coach Sam is picky. I don't think so. Strict? Maybe, but probably not. Fun-loving? Yeah. Caring? Yeah. So it's definitely not picky. It's definitely not strict. You're left with a 50-50 chance. Either fun-loving or caring. Now, because she gives her players 5 high fives and he tells them how great they're doing, you're going to go with caring. Simply because she tells them how great they're doing. Now, here's the thing. If you had chosen fun-loving, I think if you give your evidence, if you support your answer, I would have given you that one too. All right? Some of these aren't black and white. They have more than one answer. If you can justify your answer, I would accept it. Let's look at another one. Playing Superman is one of Andre's favorite games. He pretends to save his little sister from Lex Luthor all the time. He also makes up new stories and draws comic strips. Again, here we have the author telling us directly what Andre's favorite games is like. So I would say that he is very imaginative. I wouldn't say wise, fun-loving, I don't think so. Clever, it just doesn't make sense. The only one that would make sense is imaginative. Let's look at some more. Chelsea spends much of her time on the ice, arguing with her teammates, the referee, and even her coach. When her team loses, she lets them know that it was all their fault. How would you describe Chelsea? She spends her time on the ice arguing, and when she loses, she tells them it's their fault. She's definitely selfish. She's definitely a poor sport. She's not fun-loving, and she is cruel. So here we have 3 possible answers, but I think the only one would be a poor sport, because really the fact that when her team loses, she lets them know that it was their fault, that would make me believe that she's a poor sport. Yes, she is selfish and cruel, but poor sport is the best answer. Jason has played hockey all of his life. From the time he could walk, he's wanted to play. It didn't matter how many times he fell down. Jason would get up and return to his skating. At hockey practice, there wasn't another player that worked harder than Jason. So let's see, what can we say about Jason? Is he lonely? No. Is he determined? Maybe. Is he carefree? No, that doesn't really say that. Is he stubborn? No. I think the only possible answer would be determined. Okay, a few more examples. Sheila's mom did her very best each and every day. She took care of Sheila and Mark. She played games with them, taught them good manners, and loved them.